Hi everyone, this is Terry at terryscraftroom.com. So today we're making a sympathy card. I have a friend of mine whose mother just died of a long battle with cancer, and so I need to make a sympathy card. So here is, we're going to use one of our new celebration sets. It's called Corner Bouquet, and we're going to pair that with our woven heirlooms. We're going to use the thinking of you, and the prayers and heartfelt sympathy are with you and your family. And we're going to kind of make it a tone on tone, and it's a very simple card. So here's the inside of it. So let's get started. What you'll need is a piece of Whisper White, basic white cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to set that aside for a moment. Then you'll need a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 4, and a piece of white cardstock that is 5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to set the Blackberry Bliss aside. We are going to be stamping in Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper here to stamp on. And sometimes with a big stamp like this, I like to ink up this way, just so I make sure that it's well inked. Okay, so we're going to ink in this lower left hand corner. And with this big of a stamp, you want to leave the stamp on your paper for just a few seconds to let that ink soak in. Oh, that's a nice deep inking, so to speak. And while we're here, I'm going to I'm going to set that aside. Now, so I'm not going to re-ink my stamp. I'm going to stamp off one more time, and now I'm going to ink in the lower right hand corner of the inside of my card. There we go. Okay, let's set that aside. Now let's bring our, now you will need a piece of scrap cardstock, because we're going to do some sponging. We're going to place that right about here. Now, what I did was I took, what size was that? My 2.5 inch circle punch, and I just punched a circle out of this piece of scrap cardstock. And when you sponge, you always want to start off your paper so that you don't get those scratchy lines where you're sponging. And I want this to be a fairly dark circle on my cardstock. So I'm going to keep re-inking my sponge, and then always start back off the paper. And you could start like over here too. And that should be pretty dark. There we go. And then without re-inking, because I want to this part to be a little bit lighter, I'm going to ink this edge. And I'm going to be lifting my sponge this way so that I get kind of an ombre effect when I where it finishes, so it goes from white ombre to darker there. There we go. Okay. Now my thinking of you is going to go right over my sponge circle. And it's just fine enough and just dark enough that you can see it. See that? And then my inside sentiment. It's right there. Now we're going to close up our ink pad so that we don't accidentally set something in it. Let's get this out of the way so our white cardstock doesn't get sponging out all over it. And I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of the white cardstock. I'm assuming everyone knows this, but if you don't, you can use these side part pieces from your dimensional sheet. You just cut them into pieces. I hate to see any dimensionals go to waste, so I just cut these pieces off, and they work just as well as any other dimensional. There we go. Okay, and we'll put this down on top of the Blackberry Bliss paper. And then bring our card base in. And there we have a very simple, very elegant sympathy card that you could send to anyone. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Thank you for joining me today. And please hit the like button and the subscribe button down here so that you can help me build my YouTube family. And while you're at it, head on over to terryscraftroom.com and you can find all the information on how to make this card with written instructions. Bye everybody. Have a good day.